What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Rutgers Rundown podcast, episode 15. As always, Nick Hart alongside my co-host Matthew C. Mangam. Matt, we've had a little bit of a break. We had a lot of Rutgers sports in between. Got some men's soccer, women's soccer, and of course, we'll wrap it up with some football. Let's jump right in, though. Let's go right into men's soccer. On a 2-game winning streak, beating Ohio State at home last Friday. And then tonight, they go up against Monmouth back here at USAC Field.
I mean, Rutgers men's soccer, what more can you ask for? The tough loss last Friday, or 2 Fridays ago on the road in Evanston to Northwestern. And then they followed up with I would say, the win over FDU. It's a win. It's a little bit of a scary win, considering FDU is, not really a great program, but a win's a win. But then they return back home to USAC Field Friday night lights against Ohio State, the Ohio State Buckeyes. And a nice 2-0 win. I mean, Ohio State was a really good team last year. They were ranked number 1 for a good part of the year. They reached the Final Four of the NCAA tournament. Obviously, this year not having as much success, but it's still a good team and still a good win. And that was a huge win right there. So I'm really impressed with one. They've been scoring goals consistently, which is really good because we talked about it previously. I remember you were saying how Yoshi Shelb is obviously the team's leading scorer. He's the guy. But, besides him, who else is going to get the goals? And against FDU, you saw Nick Collins get one. You saw Kitch finally get the monkey off his back. You saw, and then Ohio State, you saw Cameron Boomsong get another goal in there. So the goals are being shared now, and I'm liking what I'm seeing from Rutgers men's soccer.
Well, here's the one thing that I'm impressed with, and it is just the dominance defensively that Rutgers has seen at home. Kieran Dalton now 3 clean sheets at USAC Field. He had the shutout against Ohio State, faced some pretty good opportunities, I think one of which being a shot that was almost an own goal. But something about playing at home for this Rutgers team seems to really give them a little extra boost. But I think, a win against Ohio State was a nice kind of statement win, if you will, for Rutgers. And then, you look at the people who have producing. Of course, Yoshi Shelb jumps off the page. But you've seen more and more guys get involved. Joshua Jerome finding the back of the net for Rutgers.
That was a great goal he scored, too.
Beautiful goal. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Boomsong scoring a goal in their previous match. So, not what you would expect from Rutgers men's soccer this year after what was a disappointing season last year.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be completely honest with you. This team completely shocked me. I will say it 100%. And also, another thing worth noting is the Big Ten also had Rutgers men's soccer towards the bottom of the standings when they do the projections at the beginning of the year. They had Rutgers, probably at least second or third to last. And honestly, I know it's still a little bit early because, only 3 Big Ten games, but they could definitely get in the top half of the Big Ten. It's just a matter of winning the games that they have to win. And like I said, back on the road against Northwestern, they should have got a point in that game, but, whatever. But we'll see. I mean, the team keeps proving me like, hey, we're legit, because I keep questioning, are they really that legit? Tonight against Monmouth, not really much you're looking for. It's just your final non-conference game. Just get another win in there, boost up your RPI, continue to get the RPI because, that's important when it comes to tournament time. And another home game, you mentioned the dominance of USAC Field. You got to get another win there. You would think this should be another game where you get a clean sheet too. And then you go to Michigan, and they're a pretty solid program. So then it starts ramping up. But, just continue the win streak. That's all I really can say.
Yeah, Rutgers 4-0 at home. They've only conceded, 2 goals at USAC Field this season.
Yeah.
It's been solid play all around, but I think you can't underestimate or understate how much Yoshi Shelb has meant to this program. 7 goals on the year. Seems to always be around the play. Whether he's involved or not, he's always around the play. And also leads the team in assists. But I think the one thing that kind of goes unnoticed if you're kind of just viewing the box score is simply how much attention other teams are forced to give Yoshi Shelb when he touches the ball. Against Ohio State, anytime Shelb touched the ball, there was 2, 3, even 4 defenders for Ohio State going after him. Now, I'm no mathematician, but what do you have? How many guys in the pitch? 11?
11, yeah.
11 guys in the pitch. If 3 and 4 of them are going after one guy, there's somebody that's going to be open.
Yeah.
So I kind of really, yes, the tangible factors of, hey, he could score goals. He's electric with the ball. I mean, basically created that goal all by himself against Ohio State. Took the pass down the far sideline, entered into the box, shot it. was in the back of the net before you could blink. But really, the intangibles, I think, are what has set him apart from the rest of this Rutgers team this year.
Yeah, and I even, again, another thing, I don't remember if it says on the podcast here, if I just said it, out loud or thinking to myself, but he's from St. Francis, so again, not a Power 4 school whatsoever, and he scored 10 goals there last year, but my biggest question was, okay, cool, you scored 10 goals there, but can you do it in the Big Ten? And he's basically saying, Matt, shut up, I know what I'm doing, and he's, I have to look back at the whole full stats, but 7 goals, I'm pretty sure that's the most a Rutgers player scored since M.D. Myers in 2022. Let me look right now, actually. In 2022, they won the Big Ten tournament. M.D. Myers had 13 goals. Since then, in 23 and 24, they had their most leading goal scorer, I think, had 6 goals each. Well, so he's already surpassed that.
And not to mention, they're only however many games into the season. They really haven't even sunk their teeth into Big Ten play.
Yeah, there's still basically a whole other month of play left.
Only 9 games into the season.
Yeah, there's still a whole other month of guaranteed of games.
Yeah, I mean, this could go down as one of the better Rutgers seasons for a men's soccer player. And I think what we saw a little bit in the beginning of the year of not really knowing who was going to step up is those questions are starting to become answered. Mm-hmm. Guys like Shelb, and then you go over and you see some of the guys that might not get as much credit, but Dan Karsten leading the team in assists, Cameron Boonsong, Nick Collins, Timo Jansen, all right there behind him with 2, Carson with 3, and it seems like it's starting to come together. And I think one of the biggest things for Rutgers is you have a really solid goalkeeper in Kieran Dalton in net.
Yeah, I mean, he's been fantastic. The biggest issue was with this team was the past 2 years after they won the Big Ten title was the defense, honestly. I know, like I just mentioned, the whole goal scoring wasn't really that great, but it was the defense. The past 2 years, they were top, maybe not the worst, but they were up there for the worst defense in the Big Ten. And it wasn't really Kieran Dalton's fault, because Kieran Dalton still had great stats, but, you can only make so many saves until you let one in. Kind of that's what happened. And now he has a very, very trustworthy backline, you could say. I mean, guys like Nick Collins, Devin Stopek have been here for a couple of years now. They're juniors. Braxton Montgomery, too, only a freshman, but man, oh man, has he been great. Jack Andrews, too, has been great, another freshman. So I think Kieran Dalton's been outstanding, no question about that. And he finally has a great backline that, is consistently doing him favors. But he's also great, too, not to take credit away from him.
Yeah, and one final thing on this game before we move on. Rutgers was severely outplayed in the first half of that game. If you were watching that game, I would say more than 50% of the first half was spent with Rutgers on defense.
Yeah, they only had 2 shots in the first half. Ohio State had 9.
Completely changed it around in half number 2, and ultimately came away with the win for a team last year that was pretty good in Ohio State. But we'll move on to a team that unfortunately has not fared as well, the Rutgers women's soccer team. 3-3-4 overall, just 1 win in conference play. Their record 1-3-1 as they drop both games of their California West Coast trip between UCLA and USC.
Yeah, very tough for Rutgers women's soccer. I mean, I knew going into this trip it would be obviously tough. Going to the West Coast is never easy, playing games there. They got lucky last year playing Washington and Oregon at home, but this time, got to go over there and play the games. The UCLA game, as bad as the score, well, as a loss is a loss, but just remember the last year in the Big Ten championship final, that Rutgers lost 5-0 to UCLA. So they only lost 1-0 this time. I was a little bit like, okay, it was expected that it would be a loss. Kept them only scoring 1 goal, not bad. But look at the stats. UCLA completely dominated. 14 shots. Rutgers had 3. UCLA 6 shots on goal. Rutgers 0 shots on target. So UCLA's goalie had no saves to make. Easy clean sheet for her. And then you go to the Sunday game against USC. The Trojans jump out to a quick 2-0 lead in the 28th minute. But Bodmer did come up clutch. Penalty for USC in the first half. Bodmer makes the PK save, keeps the team in the game. It's still a 2-0 game. Ali Post gets a late goal back, her first of the season. Great cross from Olivia Russimano. But it wasn't enough. Scarlet Knights lose again. That game, a little bit more in it. 8 shots, 3 on goal. USC, 12 shots, 6 on goal. But I think the thing is for Rutgers is, like the men's team, they have a great goalie. It's just their forwards aren't contributing.
Yeah, and I think the biggest difference is the women's team doesn't really have that player that they can run their offense through so far. You kind of look at the stat sheet, and yes, Nata Ramirez leads the team with 3 goals, but is she really somebody that can take over a game? Is she going to be the one that is going to keep you in games? Is she the one that's going to score a goal when you really need it? You don't really know with the Scarlet Knights team yet. And I think as the season's progressed, we've seen a little bit more, I don't know if organization is the right word, but a little bit more set offenses, which we didn't really see in the beginning of the season. But obviously, still some work to do for Rutgers women's soccer. And, you have some time off. They played last Sunday. They don't play again until this upcoming Saturday. So some time in between. But then you hit the ground running. October 4th, Penn State. October 9th, Illinois. October 12th, Northwestern. And then it seems like there's games every 3-4 days.
Yeah.
Until the end of the season. And, you kind of look at it as a little bit of a fall from grace, right? Last season, so much success, making it to the Big Ten championship game, ultimately losing in the first round of the NCAA tournament, losing in the finals of the Big Ten tournament. But it's been rough. The 3 wins at home, 3 draws during that dreadful scoreless streak in open play. And then Rutgers still looking for their first win away from Urisac Field, 0-3-1 so far on the road.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that last year's team, I felt like they could win any game they were in. I could confidently say that. I mean, last year against number 1 Michigan State, they got a tie on the road. They were getting results on the road, too, against good teams. They were getting results against good teams. I mean, Big Ten tournament, they eliminated USC on PKs, and they were down to 10 players. So I felt like last year's team, they were competitive in every game. I'm not saying that they're not competitive or not trying, but it's just that I feel like the last year's team, they always were in the game. They always were. This year's team, I don't feel that same confidence going into the games. I mean, I literally just said it earlier. I was expecting, tough results on the West Coast trip, and that's what happened. And now they go home to play Penn State on Saturday, and that's a good game. You need to win that game, because if you don't win that game, this season is going to be a really, really big challenge. It's going to be a big ask to make the Big Ten tournament, because only, I think, 10 or 9 teams make it. So, yeah.
Without a doubt. And let me ask you this question before we move on. What was the difference between last year's team and this year's team?
Riley Tiernan.
Which is the one player that can take over a game and score the goals when they need it to be scored. Unfortunately, Rutgers does not have that player right now. Not to say they don't have the player on their roster. That player just hasn't broken through yet.
Yeah.
And I really do think there's talent on this team. I think they're able to if they're able to get things going a little bit offensively, you have a strong defense. You have a lights out goalkeeper. You got to find a way to put the ball in the back of the net, because we've said it time and time again. You can make 100 saves in a game. If you don't score a goal, the best you're going to get is a draw.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what we've seen from Rutgers.
Yeah, and they have a tough schedule, though, still, because Penn State was a good team. They play Illinois after that. Illinois has one of the best defenses in the Big Ten. I think they only could see 2 or 3 goals this year. And, still some other games are maybe, a little bit more winnable, like Northwestern, but Ohio State's going to be tough. So they got a tough schedule. So, kind of looking at it, it's like you guys are winning your games soon. Otherwise, this season's going to be a disaster.
Yeah, without a doubt. And move on to a sport that the last 2 games have been a bit of a disaster.
Yeah.
Rutgers football, who started the season 3-0, now falls to 3-2, back-to-back losses in their first 2 Big Ten games. And Matt, this is concerning. There's no other way to put it. This is concerning, because the offense is exactly what everybody expected it to be. They put up 28 points against Iowa, one of the best defenses perennially in the Big Ten. Mm-hmm. 28 points against Minnesota, who statistically, total defense-wise, was the best defense in all of college football. Here's my issue. Rutgers defense, obviously, because they gave up 38 and 31 in those past 2 games. And the offense in the second half. Rutgers scored 21 points in the first half against Iowa, 7 in the second half.
Yeah.
They scored 28 points against Minnesota. 21 of them came in the first half. 7 of them came in the second half.
Yeah.
With the exception of Norfolk State, I believe Rutgers has scored 14 combined points in third quarters this year.
Wow.
What is it about this team that they can't get it going after halftime?
And Sean was asked that, and I forgot what he said, but he didn't really have an answer. But I don't know. I didn't even think about, like, I knew about the last two games, but I didn't even realize it was kind of lingering over into other, even the non-conference games. What was I gonna say? Yeah, that's insane. Yeah, that's bad. This season is really it's spiraling out of control. I mean, we were talking about after Norfolk State, you can beat Iowa and you can beat Minnesota, and then you're at 5 wins. You're in a good position to get that bowl game, and then your schedule's tough, but you can definitely get one more win in there. But now you're scratching your head saying where are you gonna get those wins, and you have now, realistically speaking, you have to go 3-1 against what is it? Washington, Purdue, Illinois, and Maryland. That's a big ask.
And since joining the Big Ten, Rutgers with the currently ranked teams, is Illinois currently ranked on the schedule?
I don't think so.
Well,
let me look.
When Illinois was ranked,
They were ranked though.
Between Illinois, Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon, who Rutgers has never faced, Scarlet Knights are a combined 3-26.
Yeah.
Since joining the Big Ten.
Illinois is ranked number 22.
Okay.
And what are they, like, winless in the last 41 games against ranked teams?
Rutgers has not won a game against a ranked opponent since 2009. 2009. Okay?
Yeah.
It is 2025. That is 16 years that Rutgers has not beaten a ranked opponent.
And it should have happened last year. We all remember what happened with Illinois, but I digress.
I'll take you back, Matt. November 12th, 2009, Rutgers defeated number 23 South Florida. And since then, they have not beaten a ranked opponent. Think about that. That's so crazy to think about. We've had how many presidents since then? 4 or 5 different presidents since then? We've had kids grow. I mean, the last time Rutgers won a bowl game, won a game against a ranked opponent, I was 6 years old. I'm now 22. It's crazy. And here's the issue that I have. Every year, Rutgers fans and people that cover the team, we sit here and we say what could have been.
Yeah.
Every single season. Realistically speaking, if Rutgers even had a sliver of defensive production, they are going into the Minnesota game with the chance to clinch bowl eligibility.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you what right now. Iowa was a good team. They weren't the better team.
They could have won that game.
Minnesota, a good team. Rutgers outplayed Minnesota that game.
Yeah.
But when you miss a field goal, well, not miss, but you have another field goal blocked, you miss a field goal to end the game, you let your quarterback get sacked 7 times in one game. This is not a recipe for success. And it sucks because it overshadows the performances of players that had really good games. Mm-hmm. Antoine Raymond, 26 carries, 168 yards on the ground. He gained the 168, lost 7, so 161 and 2 touchdowns. He has been phenomenal to start the year. Athan, 21-34, 249, 2 touchdowns, a bad interception, but he's also sacked 7 times. You look at the other side, Drake Lindsey, 31-41, 324, 3 touchdowns. This defense needs to figure it out. I know Shiano has said it's a work in progress, and he says they're going to get there, but at what point do they get there?
Yeah.
If realistically speaking, Matt, if Rutgers loses to Washington on next Friday,
oh man,
October 10th, the season's over. Because you're not going to beat Oregon, you're not going to beat Illinois, you're not going to beat Ohio State, you're not going to beat Penn State. And oh, by the way, Maryland's playing good football right now.
Yeah.
So realistically, you hate to say it, but Friday's a must-win game. Because if not, you're probably not getting to a bowl without a miracle.
Yeah, that's insane. Everyone, it's funny because everyone expected, it kind of like flip-flopped. The defense took a step back, offense took a step forward. And the most frustrating thing is, and I know every Rutgers football fan knows this, is that they're wasting Athan Kelly-McManus, basically. He's doing so good. He's playing lights out. For what? For what?
This is an offense that Rutgers has not seen in probably a decade.
Yeah.
And you hit the nail on the head. It's being wasted because of poor defensive performance.
Yeah. All for nothing it's going to be for.
You saw it in the first game of the season against Ohio. The offense put up 34 points, but the defense gave up 31. Miami and Norfolk State, okay, they are what they are. But you can't give up 38 points to an offense that is always ranked towards the bottom of the Big Ten. Granted, that Iowa's a well-coached team. I feel like they put together a really good game plan for Rutgers. They were able to adjust and stop what Rutgers was doing, but Iowa only had 160 rush yards and 186 passing yards.
Yeah. And then against Minnesota, they didn't even run the ball. It was an air game because the running back situation. So Lindsey was just constantly throwing it. Frankly, I'm scared to see how the defense is against Oregon, Penn State, and Ohio State. I don't even know if I want to see the scores of those games.
It's frustrating just because you see the skill level, you see the talent, and especially offensively. The offense is loaded with weapons. Mm-hmm. It seems like no cornerback in the Big Ten so far has been able to stop Ian Strong. KJ Duff, good luck. He's 6'6". He's coming over the middle. What are you going to do? And DT Sheffield is so quick that he seems to always be open. And Ethan is finding his guys. Yeah. He's playing probably some of the best football of his career. But it's going to be for naught if Rutgers cannot figure something out defensively. And this is a huge week for them on a bye to start to figure things out. You have to find something out. Whether it's play calling, whether it's the scheme, whether it's execution, you have to figure something out. Because there is a glaring problem with the defense of this team. Yeah,
that's pretty much it. This bye week is really important. I mean, people are already saying fire Rob Smith. This guy keeps coming back. Is it time for him to be? He keeps coming back, but is that really good? So I don't know. I feel like we're just repeating ourselves week after week. That's kind of what it's been.
Yeah,
the defense. But when are we gonna say, if ever, hey, the defense actually looked good? Maybe it will be after Washington. Maybe it will. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't be. If it's not after Washington, then I don't think it will be ever.
Well, I was gonna say if it's not after Washington, then I don't think it happens because after Washington, it's an onslaught. You come home to Oregon, who just knocked off Penn State, who is one of the best teams in college football right now. In my eyes, I think Oregon is the best team in college football. Then you go against Purdue. Okay. You go up against a ranked Illinois team who, guess what? They're going to be pissed off because they got embarrassed by Indiana. They're going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder the rest of the season. Then you play Maryland, a winnable game at home. And then to finish the season, you go up against the reigning national champions, Ohio State, and a team you've never beaten in Penn State. Well, at least since you joined the Big Ten. So, Matt, you tell me that where, if anywhere, if it's not Washington, where is it going to be?
Yeah. At that point, if you lose to Washington, then at that point, the Maryland game, who cares where they are? If that situation they're in, what I'm saying, because let's be honest, at this point for Rutgers football, it's bowl or bust every single year because of what Shiano's been doing. That you take the step forward, making the bowl games, and then you take the step. Last year you have a cupcake schedule. Let's be honest.
You lose out the month of October.
Yeah, you have a cupcake schedule. Don't take advantage of it. You could have done so much better. Whatever. Bowl game, okay, fine. But then this year, if you don't even make a bowl game, oh man,
it's a step back.
It's like 1,000 steps back after 1,000 steps forward. It feels like if this season's a failure, then the program took a step back drastically. And I think there is hope with Kelly Zinn, the whole future of Rutgers football. But we're not talking about the future. We're talking about right now.
Yeah,
with the offense too.
And they always say, if you want to be the best, you have to beat the best.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Rutgers is going to come out anytime in the near future and be the number one team in the Big Ten. But you look at it, there's unspoken tiers to the Big Ten as far as football goes. You have your upper echelon, you have your middle of the pack, and then you have your bottom, right?
Yeah.
And I think right now Rutgers either sits at the bottom of the middle of the pack or the top of the bottom.
Yeah.
And listen, I don't expect Rutgers to be in that upper echelon of teams, but wouldn't it be nice if Rutgers ended up being, in Indiana or in Illinois where they're consistently talked about, they're consistently ranked, they're successful every year, I'm not saying you have to go to the college football playoffs like Indiana did last year, but compete, right?
Yeah.
Don't look at there should be a point in the future where Rutgers looks at their schedule and they go, all right, I think we can beat every team here. Will it happen? Probably not, but we can.
I feel like you had that mindset last year with that schedule. You kind of should have thought that way. We could be basically everybody here. But I mean, Shiano even said it. Like, it's gonna be hard to beat the best teams, but like they're not at that point yet. But it's just like, you know it, Nick. Like the program is just taking too slow to get there. Like it's just taking too long. At what point is it like, all right, like where's the kick in the ass? Like let's go. Like it's really like. And as like I said, I think with Kelly's in at the helm, they'll get better with NIL, they'll get better with revenue share, they'll get better with that type of stuff, they'll get better recruiting. But, again,
that's going to take time, though.
Like exactly, like you can't expect it to happen overnight. It's going to take years.
And
it's like it has to be soon.
And Greg Schiano kind of touched on it when I spoke with him today and with the media. I'm paraphrasing here, but essentially he said somebody asked about NIL, right? And Schiano essentially said like, hey, listen, this is nothing new. If we're going to adjust, we have to adjust to the level that other schools have already done.
Yeah.
And it's true because you look at Oregon pumping money out left and right. You look at Ohio State, there's always money flying around. Penn State, money flying around. This is the way that college football is today. You're not going to win if you can't recruit and you cannot keep your recruits.
Yeah.
Because how many times have we seen a player get recruited, they sign their letter of intent, and then all of a sudden, by the spring deadline, they're in the transfer portal. Never even put on a uniform. Or how many times do you see guys decommit? Or this, that, or the other thing, right? And a lot of what makes these upper echelon schools so good and so consistently good is they have a reputation, right? They have a reputation of winning. They have a reputation of success. They have a reputation of, hey, we're going to be relevant every single year. And that's why they end up getting all the 5 stars, all the 4 stars, because people want to go there whether they're going to play or not.
Yeah.
Think about it. Think about all of college football, right? How many teams get kind of, I don't know if preferential treatment's the right word, but preferential treatment. I mean, Notre Dame lost 2 games to start the season. They remained ranked. Why? Because they're Notre Dame.
There's a level of respect, you
exactly.
could say, like notoriety.
Yes. There's 100% what people would call like helmet scouting in college football.
Yeah.
If say you're having the year that Ethan Calig-Manis is, but you're playing for Texas, guess what? You're in the Heisman conversation. Right?
But the thing is like it's Rutgers, so it's like that kind of why. Unless they do something, it's not going to be.
And I'm not saying that Ethan is playing to a Heisman caliber, but for a while, for the first 4 weeks of the season, he was the highest graded quarterback or one of the highest graded quarterbacks by PFF in all of the country, not just the Big Ten, not just the East Coast, the whole country.
Yeah.
And the talent seems to be here every year. It's just the execution that, like you said, they need to get to a point where both fans look at a schedule and they go, okay, they can win every game. Or, okay, we can compete in every game. Don't look at a schedule and go, all right, well, I can check off 3 losses right here. Do you think Oregon does that? You think Penn State does that? You think Ohio State does that?
Yeah, no, these programs, we have to go all the way. We should win every game.
Listen, these programs, they lose 1 game and they're pissed.
Yeah, 1 game in the season's a failure. Yeah,
I mean, think about, we'll go with Penn State fans, right? They started the season well, one of the best teams in the country, right? Then you go up against one of the other best teams in the country and you lose to Oregon. That team was pissed. Why? Because they have a standard of winning. And when you don't have that standard, it's hard to achieve it. And it's as simple as that.
Well spoken. I agree.
Well, that is all the time we have for the podcast today. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, you can find us on YouTube at The Daily Targum, on Instagram at The Daily Targum, and online at TheDailyTargum.com. And that's all we have. Keep it tuned next week for some more Rutgers sports. Nick Hart, Matt Mangum signing off for now.